A couple weeks ago in the Photographers Changing Stations Facebook group, a Milspouse posed a question that I'm sure we've all considered. When you move to a new location, do you keep your prices the same, or do you find that you have to adjust to the going rate in that area? I'd love to dig into some thoughts on this. Hey friend, I'm Erin, teacher turned photographer, and I love helping fellow Milspouse photographers build businesses that thrive despite frequent moves. So glad you found me here, and I'm excited to dig into this topic with you. My short answer to this is it depends. I think the going rate is an important number to know, but it's honestly not one that I'd put a ton of emphasis on. In my own business, I would much prefer to rerun my cost of doing business and set my prices based on those numbers. Because things change with a move, right? Maybe you have more time to devote to your business so you can shoot more, or maybe you're going to have less time and so you're going to shoot less. Maybe your annual income goal changes because of the cost of living in the area. Maybe you have more expenses than you didn't have at a previous assignment. And so these are the kinds of changes that I want to consider. I'm going to take those into account. I'm going to rerun my cost of doing business, and then I'm going to be able to confidently set my prices in the new area. They might be the same, they might not be, but I'll at least have the numbers to back up my prices. Now, I have a 3-step framework that I use to run my cost of doing business, and I am going to share that with you so you can use it too. The first step is to determine your time and your money goals. So as I mentioned a minute ago, things can change from one assignment to the next, and so you want to ask yourself, first, how much time do I have to spend on my business? How many sessions per week am I going to want to be shooting? Additionally, what's my desired annual salary? How much money am I hoping to pay myself? This isn't just how much money you want to bring into the business, but how much do you want to pay yourself at the end of the year or sporadically throughout the year so that you can meet the income goals that you have for your family? So you take these two pieces, and then you also want to consider how much time actually goes into a session. Now, we know that a single session takes way more time than just the amount of time you're spending at the session with your client. You've got your admin time, your culling time, your editing time, your blogging time. All of those things come into play. And so when you're running these numbers, you want to be thinking, how much time am I spending on each session to make sure that you're paying yourself for all of your time and not just the time that you're at the session with the clients. So once you have these goals for your time and your money in place, you're going to want to think about your expenses. The expenses are all of the things that you're paying for. This includes your gear and your repairs costs, of course, but it's so much more than that. You want to be thinking about your CRM if you use one, your gallery delivery platform, any coaching or education courses that you've bought, brand photos that you've taken, maybe a service that you use for your bookkeeping, additional expenses like your taxes or your permits or insurance, all of these things. There's lots of different expenses that you may find yourself with in your business. And so when you're getting ready, again, to run your cost of doing business, you want to have a long list of all of these expenses, how much it's going to cost you either from month to month or at the end of the year, so that you can take them into account when you're setting your prices. Now you've got your time and your money goals and you have your expenses. The last step is to evaluate. And this is probably the hardest part, especially if math is not your thing, but it's really just some simple arithmetic. Just total your expenses, add them to your yearly salary, divide by the number of sessions you're going to shoot. Though if you have multiple packages, which you probably do, and they're going to cost different amounts and you want to shoot them different amounts, you'll have to take that into consideration. Maybe this isn't as straightforward as it seems. Lucky for you, I'm a math teacher, and nerding out about numbers is one of my favorite things to do. So I actually have a spreadsheet that I use to run all of these numbers for me. It is a customizable cost of doing business calculator, and I would love to share it with you. It's actually included as part of my freebie 5 Ways to PCS Prep Your Photography Business. Honestly, it could be a freebie all by itself because it's a very involved tool, but I think rerunning your numbers before you move is a really big, important step in preparing your business for a PCS, which is why I included it as part of that guide. So if you don't already have access to that, I will link it in the description below. You can also grab it on my website at erinthompsonphoto.com/PCS-prep. And I hope you find that tool really helpful. If you're coming up on a move, or you're just getting settled in a new place, or maybe you've never actually run your cost of doing business before, this would be a great time to do it. Well, friend, I hope this was helpful. I know the business side of a photography business can be stressful and it's not necessarily the fun part. But if you want to run a profitable, successful business that is reaching your family's income goals, you have to run your cost of doing business. You have to price yourself in accordance with your own numbers. So whether you use my calculator or not, I highly recommend running those numbers so that you can set your prices confidently to set yourself up to meet those goals. If you have any questions, please drop them below. Or if you're a Milspouse photographer and you're not yet in the Photographers Changing Stations Facebook group, we would love to have you in there. It is a free community filled with fellow Milspouse photographers who just get it. We understand the challenges of moving business from one place to the next, and it's a great place to ask these kind of questions and just be in community with people who get it. So we would love to have you in there if you're a fellow Milspouse. Either way, I hope to see you here next time.